Dear students, a very good morning to all. Welcome you all to BA Part 3rd class. Today, we are going to discuss W.B. Yeats and his poem, A Prayer for My Daughter. W.B. Yeats was born in 1865 in Dublin, Ireland. He is the great modern poet. He founded the Irish Literary Society in 1891 and was responsible for the Irish Literary Theatre. He was a great poet, a playwright, and a thinker. He was associated with the Irish movement. He has written various immortal poems like The Lake Isles of Innisfree, The Wild Swans at Cooley, The Tower, and others. Today, we are going to talk about his poem, A Prayer for My Daughter. If we talk about this poem, this is a lyric poem that expresses, as the name indicates, as the title indicates of this poem, it expresses poet's concern for his young daughter, Annie. She was born in 1919 when the First World War had just got over. The poem is marked by a strong protective attitude and a prayer for a balanced life of happiness for the young child. There is uncertainty and an stability in the world outside. The future appears to be equally uncertain. In these circumstances, the poet prays that may the gifts of God be such as to endow the young child with qualities which would win her friends and happiness. So here in this poem, the poet expresses his gratitude to God that may he provide her with a happy life and happy friends. ये जो पोएम है इसमें कवि ने, क्योंकि ये पोएम 1919 में लिखी गई है, क्योंकि हम जानते हैं कि फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर जो हुआ था 1914 से 1919 के बीच में हुआ था. जब भी कोई वॉर होता है तो हमारे आसपास किस तरह का माहौल होता है, हमें ये नहीं पता होता कि अगले पल क्या होगा. अनसर्टेनिटी होती है, अनिश्चितता होती है, भय का वातावरण होता है. तो उसी वातावरण में इस बच्ची का जन्म हुआ, एनी जिसका नाम है. और W.B. येट्स जो पोइट है, इस पोएम में प्रे कर रहा है कि उसकी लाइफ में सब कुछ सही रहे, क्योंकि उसे खुद को भी नहीं पता कि अगले पल क्या होने वाला है, क्योंकि अभी अभी युद्ध खत्म हुआ है 1919 में ही, क्या पता आगे क्या सिचुएशंस हो. तो इस पोएम में एक फादर एक बेटी के लिए क्या प्रेयर कर सकता है, उसके भविष्य के लिए क्या ईश्वर से इसकी प्रार्थना है, क्या उसकी विशेष हैं, उसके बारे में रिफ्लेक्ट किया गया है. सो लेट अस कम टू द पोएम इटसेल्फ. Once more the storm is howling, and half hid under this cradle hood and coverlet my child sleeps on. There is no obstacle but Grigory's wood and bare hill whereby the hay stake and roof leveling wind bred on the Atlantic can be stayed. And for an hour I have walked and prayed because of the great gloom that is in my mind. इन लाइन्स में पोइट कह रहा है कि वंस मोर द स्टोर्म इज हाउलिंग. एक बार फिर से स्टोर्म जो है बाहर, एक तो उसके मन में एक स्टोर्म चल रहा है और एक बाहर बहुत तेज हवाएं चल रही हैं. तो उसका मन जो पहले से ही उद्विग्न है, चिंतित है अपनी बेटी को लेकर के, उसमें वातावरण में भी कुछ हलचल है. तो उस समय उसके मन में क्या विचार उठ रहे हैं, उसको इस पोएम में बहुत अच्छे से रिफ्लेक्ट किया गया है. वंस मोर द स्टोर्म इज हाउलिंग. हाउलिंग, द विंड्स आर ब्लोइंग वेरी हैवीली बिकॉज वेन एवर द स्टोर्म कम्स, जब भी तूफान आता है तेज हवाएं चलती हैं. एंड हाफ हिड अंडर दिस क्रेडल हुड एंड कवरलेट माई चाइल्ड स्लीप्स ऑन. और उसी स्टोर्म के बीच में आधी ढकी हुई क्रेडल हुड, मतलब अपने क्रेडल में, अपने झूले में कौन सो रही है? एक छोटी सी बच्ची सो रही है, पालने में सो रही है. देयर इज नो ऑब्स्टिकल. अब तक उसकी लाइफ में कोई ऑब्स्टिकल नहीं है, कोई अड़चन नहीं है, लेकिन क्या अड़चन है? बट ग्रिगोरीज वुड, द वुड दैट इज सराउंडिंग लेडी ग्रिगोरी in house at Cool Park in country Galway, where the poet had passed many a beautiful summer. He was very much interested in a personal landscape having a certain imaginative wood. And one bare hill whereby the haystack and roof leveling wind. Haystack, regular pile of hay with pointed or rigid top, घास का ढेर जिसे हम कह सकते हैं, the haystack. The wind is so violent that it levels down roofs and haystacks. हवा इतनी तेज चल रही है कि जहाँ वहाँ पर जो भी छतें हैं और घास के ऊंचे ऊंचे ढेर लगे हुए हैं उन सबको गिरा रही है. Whereby the haystack and roof leveling wind. Roof leveling मतलब छत भी उड़ रही हैं. हवा बहुत तेज चलती है तो आपने देखा होगा कि टीन वगैरह जितनी भी होती हैं वो सारी उड़ जाती हैं. Bread on the Atlantic can be straight. Bread on the Atlantic originated from the Atlantic Ocean can be straight, and for an hour I have walked and prayed because of the great gloom that is in my life, in my mind. Here the poet says that he is deeply despondent about the future of the civilization that is verging on destruction. Gloom, sadness, depression. The greatest problem in the mind of the poet is how to protect the innocent child, Annie, from all these storms. So in these lines, the poet says that his infant daughter is sleeping in its cradle, well covered and protected from the violent storm which rages outside. The stormy wind comes direct from the Atlantic Ocean, opposed only by the wood of Lady Gregory's estate and one bare hill. A storm also rages within the soul of the poet. He is full of despondent foreboding for the future of humanity. He has walked about anxiously a great deal and prayed for his daughter. तो इन पंक्तियों में कवि कहता है कि उसकी पुत्री जो है बहुत छोटी सी है और वो अपने पालने में सो रही है. वो वेल कवर्ड है, वो ढकी हुई है पूरी तरह से, लेकिन बाहर यदि देखें तो तेज आंधी चल रही है, लेकिन वो उससे सुरक्षित है. तूफानी हवा जो है वो अटलांटिक महासागर से होकर आ रही है और उसे केवल दो ही चीज़ों से रुकावट हो रही है. जो हवा है वो केवल दो ही चीज़ों से नियंत्रित की जा सकती है उस समय. एक है लेडी ग्रिगरी के जंगल और एक पहाड़ी, एक ऐसी पहाड़ी जहाँ पर वृक्ष नहीं है. उन दोनों ने उस हवा को रोक रखा है, तूफान को रोक रखा है. उसी तरह से कवि के हृदय में भी एक आंधी उठ रही है. उसके मन में मानव के भविष्य के बारे में बहुत ही निराशा है. वह उत्सुकता पूर्वक इधर उधर घूम रहा है और अपनी पुत्री के लिए प्रार्थना कर रहा है कि may her future be protected from all this storm. So let us come to the next lines. I have walked and prayed for this young child an hour and heard the sea wind scream upon the tower and under the arcs of the bridge and scream in the elms above the flooded stream, imagining in excited reverie that the future years had come dancing to a frenzied drum out of the murderous innocence of the sea. इन लाइन्स में पोइट जो है वो वापस से जो बाहरी उथल पुथल है उसका बहुत अच्छा विवरण दे रहा है. आई हैव वॉक्ड एंड प्रेड फॉर दिस यंग चाइल्ड एन आवर. वो बता रहा है कि किस तरह से 1 घंटे तक वो इधर उधर घूमता रहा और किस तरह से वो अपनी यंग डॉटर के लिए प्रे कर रहा है. द पोइट हैज वॉक्ड फॉर एन आवर एंड ही हैज प्रेड फॉर द वेल बीइंग ऑफ दिस यंग चाइल्ड एनी ग्रिगोरी and heard the sea wind scream upon the tower. Scream, the loud noise that is being created by this wind. And heard the sea wind scream upon the tower. The tower, the residence of the poet here referred to with the tower. And under the arcs of the bridge and scream in the elms above the flooded stream. The flooded stream, the image evokes the memory of the great flood mentioned in the Bible. It also suggests the forthcoming catastrophe described by the poet in his vision. In the elms above the flooded stream, imagining in excited reverie, reverie means daydream, excited reverie. Here the poet has used oxymoron. Reveries are waking dreams. Excited would mean agitated or stirred up feelings. Elm, it is a kind of tree. Imagining in excited reverie that the future years had come. Frenzied, dancing to a frenzied drum. Frenzied means wildly excited. Out of the murderous innocence of the sea. Murderous innocence. It suggests that the sea waves are murderous and they are very forceful. So here the poet says that the sea wind screams upon the tower. When the winds are blowing and they are striking against the sea, they are creating a great sound that is just like the screaming. Below the arcs of the bridge, connecting the castle with the main road, and in the elms above the flooded river. The poet's mind is haunted with fear, and he imagines that the future years have come out of the sea, dancing the frenzied dance of war and bloodshed. So, like an affectionate father, he prays for his daughter. अब यहाँ पोइट इमेजिन कर रहा है कि समुद्री हवा जो है वो उसकी टावर के ऊपर चल रही है और उसका जो किला है, उसकी जो मीनार है, वो किले को मुख्य सड़क से जोड़ने वाले पुल के मेहराबों के नीचे और बाढ़ से उफनती हुई नदी के ऊपर खड़े हुए एम्स के जो वृक्ष हैं उनके अंदर चीत्कार कर रही है. मतलब जितने भी वहाँ ऑब्जेक्ट्स हैं, चाहे वो टावर है, चाहे वो ब्रिज है, उन सब से टकराती हुई हवा ऐसी लग रही है जैसे वो चीत्कार कर रही हो. The poet is very much afraid. He imagines that it is indicating the future years to come, which are very dangerous. Murderous innocence that is reflected by the writer. युद्ध और रक्तपात का भयानक नाच है. अतएव वो एक अपनी पुत्री के लिए प्रार्थना करता है. I have walked and prayed for this young child an hour. He reflects that how he has prayed amidst these circumstances which are very uncertain, which are reflecting the outside murderous effect of the winds which are howling, the war that is in hand anytime. He is trying to protect his child against all these aspects of nature which are reflecting the uncertainty of the future years to come. So let us come to the third paragraph. May she be granted beauty and yet not beauty to make a stranger's eye distraught, of hers before a looking glass for such being made beautiful overmuch. Consider beauty a sufficient end, lose natural kindness and maybe the heart revealing intimacy that chooses right and never find a friend. May she be granted beauty and yet not. Here the poet is praying for his daughter that she will be granted with a beautiful face, but her beauty could not destroy others. Beauty to make a stranger's eye distraught. Distraught, distracted, frantic, of hers before a looking glass for such being made beautiful overmuch. She must be beautiful, but not too much too beautiful that she is over possessive about herself and maybe her beauty causes the destruction of others. She might not recognize the feeling of others. Consider beauty a sufficient end, lose natural kindness and maybe the heart revealing intimacy. He thinks that his daughter is not going to be so much so beautiful that she considers that beauty is an end in itself. In that way, She might lose her natural kindness and maybe the heart revealing intimacy. She might not be intimate to others. That chooses right and never find a friend. Never find a friend, so that she could not get any good husband but so many friends. Here the poet prays that his daughter should be gifted with beauty, but not so much beauty as to make her proud and cruel. Women gifted with extraordinary beauty begin to regard beauty as a complete end in itself, and forget that beauty should be conducive to the happiness of life. Proud of their beauty, they forget their natural kindness, fail to respect the elders and their sincere lovers, and so ultimately fail to find a suitable life partner. कभी इन पंक्तियों में कहता है कि उसकी पुत्री जो है वो सुंदर तो हो, लेकिन इतनी भी सुंदर ना हो कि वो बहुत निर्दयी बन जाए और गर्व करे अपने ऊपर, क्योंकि उसका मानना है कि जो महिलाएं असाधारण रूप से सुंदर होती हैं वो सुंदरता को ही पूर्ण लक्ष्य मानती हैं और भूल जाती हैं कि सौंदर्य जीवन के सुख का प्रेरक होना चाहिए। अपनी सुंदरता पर गर्व करके वे अपनी स्वाभाविक दयालुता भूल जाती हैं और वो किसी के भी स्नेह को प्रोटेक्ट नहीं कर पाती, उत्तर नहीं दे पाती, इसीलिए अंततः अपने लिए योग्य जीवन साथी भी नहीं पा पाती। अब यहाँ पोइट ने इन लाइंस में मॉडगॉन की तरफ रेफरेंस दिया है, क्योंकि मॉडगॉन जो थी वो येट्स की बिलबिड थी and she was very much beautiful, but she did not reciprocate his love and she married McBride. Helen, being chosen, found life flat and dull and later had much trouble from a fool, while that great queen that rose out of the spray, being fatherless, could have her way, yet chose a bandy-legged smith for man. It's certain that the fine women eat a crazy salad with their meat, whereby the horn of plantage undone. Helen, here the reference is to the famous Greek beautiful lady. She was daughter of Zeus and Leda, and the most beautiful woman on the earth. She was carried off when still a child by Theseus, but recovered by her brothers. She was wooed by the principal chief in Greece, who, at the suggestion of Odysseus, agreed to abide by her choice and defend her husband. She was married to Menelaus, but carried away by Paris to Troy in the absence of her husband. The Greek princes, led by Agamemnon, undertook the expedition to Troy to recover her, and after a siege of 10 years, took the city. Helen was thus reconciled to Menelaus, and after her return, lived with him at Sparta. So Helen, being chosen, found life flat and dull. Helen was so beautiful. She was chosen by the god to be very much beautiful. But she found that life is not very attractive. It is flat and dull. It is monotonous, and later had much trouble from a fool. But later on, she met various troubles in her life because she married a fool. While that great queen that rose out of the spray here the reference is to the Greek goddess of youth and beauty, the great queen, Venus or Aphrodite. She rose out of the spray means sea. Spray here refers to the sea. So, while that great queen that rose out of the spray, being fatherless, could have her way, yet chose a bandy-legged smith for man. She was self-willed and obstinate. That's why she chose a bandy-legged smith for man. Bandy-legged smith, a lame iron smith, she chose for her husband. So here the reference is to Morgon, whom Yeats loved and wanted to marry, but she refused to marry him. She married Major McBride, a lame iron smith, just as Aphrodite married the lame Hephaestus. Your chose a bandy-legged Smith for man. It's certain that fine women eat a crazy salad with their meal. Bear by the horn of plenty undone. He says that the beautiful ladies eat something silly which makes them crazy and mad. Salad, some kind of eatables that we take. The horn of plenty, the best store of gifts. In Greek mythology, the horn of the goat that suckled Jupiter. It was placed among the stars as a symbol of plenty and prosperity. So, here the poet says that beautiful women certainly eat something unusual which makes them proud and mad and miserable. Most of the beautiful women had been the cause of their unhappiness and have behaved foolishly. Helen caused much trouble to Paris. Aphrodite, Venus, committed the folly of marrying the lame ironsmith of God and betrayed him. And Morgan married foolishly a lout McBride and could not live happily with him and sought separation from him. अब इन लाइंस में पोइट कहता है कि सुंदरता, अत्यधिक सुंदरता जो है वो मनुष्य को बहुत ही पागल बना देती है. सुंदर महिलाएं ऐसा लगता है कि कुछ अनोखी वस्तुएं अपने साथ अपने खाने में लेती हैं जो कि उन्हें घमंडी और पागल बना देता है. अधिकांश सुंदर महिलाएं अपने दुख का कारण स्वयं बनती हैं और मूर्खतापूर्ण व्यवहार करती हैं. जैसे हेलेन ने पेरिस को संकट में डाल दिया. एफ्रोडाइट ने ईश्वर के मीन्स लैम आयरन स्मिथ जो था उससे विवाह करके बेवकूफ़ी की. और मॉडगॉन ने मूर्खता की और एक गवार मैकब्राइट के साथ विवाह कर लिया. उसके साथ सुखपूर्वक ना तो वो रह पाई और दे हैव टू सेपरेट फ्रॉम ईच अदर. So here the main indication of these lines is that the poet wants that his daughter should not be so much so beautiful. वो चाहता है कि उसकी पुत्री जो है वो बहुत ज़्यादा beautiful ना हो. This is I think enough for today. The remaining part of the poem we will talk about tomorrow.